Welcome back to Pure Ball, guys. It's Abdul here. A bit of a different setting. I'm in Istanbul, just on a little bit of a break over the international break, catching the last bit of Premier League football before heading home. Manchester United disappointed 4-2 to Leicester City, a team that's not had the best of seasons. I thought this is a good opportunity for Manchester United to come back after the international break, prove a point, really get going into the season, because we've not really got going this season. And they've disappointed, to be honest, and that's a big question now. Where do we go away with Ole Gunnar Solskjær? The squad, the problems in terms of individuals. There's a lot of questions with this, and in my opinion, I think the first thing I want to discuss is sort of the setup of the team. There's one concern that I've always had this season so far, with Marcus Rashford being out, and obviously Dan James moving. If you're going to play that midfield of a Pogba, Matic, Pogba, McTominay, who are your pressers in that team? Who are the players that are going to bring that energy, that are going to bring that intensity in an attacking sense? And all you can see is Bruno Fernandes. We've seen that in the Villarreal game. Bruno tracking back, winning tackles. He's always going to do that. But then without Marcus Rashford, who also brings that, and Jadon Sancho's got bits of that. If you go into that game with Mason Greenwood, Ronaldo, Sancho, and you got Paul Pogba, who can be a liability in that area of the pitch. I can only remember Paul Pogba having a decent patch of form at DM in Ole Gunnar Solskjær, in Jose Mourinho's first season, the 16-17 season where we won the Europa League under Jose and the League Cup. And I thought Pogba, he got a lot of criticism in that season. I defended him quite a bit because I felt like he always stepped up even at DM, like he was putting himself about. He really understood what he had to do. But as Jose left, in terms of that role, the discipline did as well with him. I just feel like if you're looking at that France game against Spain, Pogba had a magnificent game, winning tackles. But one thing that I noticed in that game is everything starting in his own half, and then he's sort of gradually building into the opposition half, then just releases the ball into the likes of Benzema, the likes of Kylian Mbappe, and then the attacks really build on themselves from there. As for Manchester United, I feel like Pogba, Matic stepping up way too high because we can't penetrate through the middle. There's no ways of creating through the middle. I do want Ole to succeed, and I think he has done things well at the club in terms of the rebuild and everything. But we do see him undercoached at times. If you're looking at in terms of his attacking spaces, when Aaron Wan-Bissaka on a few times in that first half bringing the ball forward, no one's attacking the space. Same thing with Paul Pogba when he's dribbling forward, beats a man or two. Didn't do that at all today. He was poor. But we see that in past weeks. No one attacks the space. We don't really take advantage when someone creates the space for the others. And it feels like it's just something we're not working on in training. And the other thing is the defensive side of it. Every time on the break, it looks the same scenario. One centre-back steps out. The defensive midfielders are way too high up. We see that with Pogba and Matic. Because in fairness, they're trying to play through the middle. I thought Matic was absolutely our best player today and kept that team together. Because if Matic was on the pitch, I wouldn't even want to imagine how that game would have gone. That would have been an absolute disaster. And it's honestly sad to see. This team on paper looks really good. You got Marcus Rashford coming back today, who is, of course, I'm excited to see comes on and scores, does the business, as he's always done under Ole, making sure that Ole's, getting that bit of hope of staying in his job. And he almost done that again, just stepping in. But they just go and score right off it. Where's the composure? Where's the leaders on the pitch? Where's the midfield holding things together? And I think this leads me on to the point to the midfield. What's worked under Ole is, as rubbish as it looks sometimes, is that McFred midfield. They turn the ball over really well. They find you forwards. It almost allows the attackers to have a bit more of a free-flowing attack. And then, what you do is you put Pogba in there, and it doesn't really work in terms of Ole Gunnar Solskjær system, especially in games like Leicester. Leicester just kept winning the ball back and just going at us again. We just didn't have any control. And if what works for Ole is that McFred midfield, and that's what's done in certain good runs of form, then Ole, in terms of the personal things he's got with these players or whatever's happening with the board and whatnot, Pogba doesn't play then in this game. And I like Paul Pogba, and I think he's a good player, and I've wanted him to succeed at United. But if the system isn't built for him, and this is you as a manager, the way you set your team up, the way the foundation of the team is built is on having two defensive midfielders that turn the ball over. If Paul Pogba doesn't give you that, then why is he in the team? Why is he in the team in that area of the pitch? I'm not going to play Pogba at left wing because as good as it looked like against Leeds, and it's looked like on some other occasions like AC Milan last season on Europa and Europa League, in the long term, I want to see my Jadon Sancho's, Marcus Rashford's, Mason Greenwood's playing as the wide players. Mason Greenwood was obviously going to hopefully eventually move into a centre forward. But I want to see Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford down the left. One of them taking that role. So if that's going to affect their minutes and they're the guys that we're building the team around in the future, then where does Pogba fit in into sort of what Ole's trying to build as a structure? So, okay, he's not even committed to us as a team, as a club. Then for me in this situation, then keep him on the bench and you can bring him on to change a game. You know, when teams are sitting back, when we're going to see a lot more of the ball on the edge of the box and he can take that risk where he can lose the ball and say teams might counter you, where you need a goal. That's when Pogba can really make things happen. But then when you need a bit of composure and a bit of control in that midfield and reassurance, he's not going to really give you that. But that's just my point of view. I think the midfield thing is a big issue. I know we should have signed a defensive midfielder, but Ole's got to make the decision as well. Because this is down to Ole. Like, if he loses his job over this, it's down to him, because that's not the setup I would have gone with today. And I feel like, fair enough, yeah, Matic Pogba, it didn't look too bad in terms of on paper. I've seen it work in the past. Second half, you notice that, bring McTominay on with Matic, have a bit more control in that midfield. But that's my thoughts anyways on the games, guys. I know, so I'm very disappointed. Would have loved to jump back on here after a while and give you guys some energy and give you guys some nice football content. But of course, we've got to talk about this. I'm sure every Manchester United fan's so disappointed. Where I stand on it, I think sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjær now in this run of form, I think he's quite lucky, because you can't really change. He's got this run of form coming. You just bring in a new manager. How's that going to work? I don't know. Maybe you have to wait until the next international break. The way I feel Ole can turn this around is if he goes, okay, this is what works for me. I need my midfielders to do this. I need this and that. I don't care about how big a name player is. This isn't going to work. You're looking, one big topic what I talk about is Ronaldo. Mason Greenwood, unbelievable goal. But you can't be shooting every time. You can't be looking at a goal in every moment when Ronaldo's only having a couple of shots. Because if you brought Ronaldo in, then you've got to provide him in those areas of the pitch. So there's a lot of things that Ole's got to make a decision about. And I think one of them is making sure you get in a bit more of Sancho and Rashford together in the pitch, because of that understanding of attacking the space, like Marcus Rashford for the goal with the Lindelof ball over the top. We've seen that in the past, because he understands that. He knows when to go. Jadon Sancho, and I think them two need to be either side of a centre forward, whether it's Ronaldo, Mason Greenwood, whoever it is. That is a decision he's got to make, and the biggest one is that midfield, because clearly he needs two dynamic midfielders that are going to turn the ball over, that, you know, when it gets nasty in midfield, can deal with it. And it got really nasty in midfield today, and Pogba could not deal with a thing. So yeah, that's my thoughts. I think if Ole's going to turn it around, those are decisions he's got to make. You know, either going to make players upset or you're going to lose your job. That's how it's going to work. Because right now he's playing with a team in terms of the names on paper. It's not really Ole Gunnar Solskjær. It's not really what works for him as a manager. So he's got to change that. And I feel like if he doesn't in this run of form, I feel like he'll be gone by the next international break. You guys let me know, is it a good time to sack Ole Gunnar Solskjær? Do Manchester United need to give him this run of form? How does it affect the team? You guys let me know in the comments, Manchester United fans, what you think. And guys, before you head off, make sure you like, subscribe and share. I'm back in the UK next week, so there's a lot more content coming. Us guys at Pure Ball, we're working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So make sure you guys are supporting us as much as possible, and catch you guys soon.